In every age, there are a few souls who awaken before the rest. They see beyond the veil of illusion, beyond the deceits of kings, priests, and common men. But with such vision comes danger, for to reveal what you have seen is to hand your enemies the map to your soul. Today, I, Niccolo Machiavelli, shall reveal what the awakened must never reveal. For power, whether of the crown or the spirit, is safest when cloaked in silence. You may feel a hunger to share your awakening, to speak of divine experiences, sudden visions, or newfound truths. But beware, not everyone who smiles at you is your ally. Many will envy, doubt, or manipulate you for what you know. In this lesson, you shall learn the 5 sacred truths the awakened must never reveal, and why silence is your greatest shield in a world that fears what it cannot understand. Let us begin our descent into the shadows of wisdom. Never reveal your inner vision. Among all the hidden treasures of the awakened soul, the most sacred is the inner vision, that private window through which you see the universe unveiled. It is the moment when you no longer see as a man, but as a spirit wearing human eyes. But beware, my friend, for the instant you reveal this vision to another, you risk losing the very essence of its power. The inner vision is not a story to be told. It is a mystery to be lived. It is the silent dialogue between your soul and the divine intelligence that governs all things. It comes in flashes, in dreams, in stillness. When the world around you is loud and yet something deeper whispers through the noise. The awakened person sees truth not as belief, but as direct experience. Yet when this experience is shared too soon, it becomes contaminated by the interpretations of others. What was once sacred becomes questioned, mocked or dissected by minds not ready to see. In my time, he continues, I observed kings who shared their plans too freely, and priests who revealed their visions to the masses, and all were undone by their own openness. The vision, when spoken, loses its sanctity. It becomes the property of the world, not of the soul. And the world, as you know, does not honor what it cannot understand. Your inner vision is like a flame in a storm, brilliant, fragile, and alive. It must be guarded, not displayed. When you reveal it, you invite the winds of opinion, the storms of skepticism, and the hands of envy, to extinguish what was meant to guide only you. People who have not seen the truth within themselves cannot comprehend the truth within you. They will either ridicule it or worship it, and both are forms of distortion. The awakened soul does not seek validation, for truth does not require applause. Think of this, when the painter reveals his masterpiece too early. Before it is finished, every onlooker feels entitled to critique it. The same is true for your vision. It is not ready to be shared until it has fully matured within you, until it has shaped your character and anchored your peace. Only then can it be expressed, not as confession but as wisdom, silent, subtle, and alive through your actions rather than your words. Men are rarely capable of seeing beyond their own fears. Machiavelli's tone hardens, and so they will measure your revelations by their own limits. They will try to explain your awakening through the language of their ignorance. They will attempt to own it, name it, or challenge it, and when they fail to understand it, they will reject it, or worse, they will reject you. The true seeker must learn the art of sacred secrecy. The inner vision is not meant for display, because its power lies in its invisibility. Just as a prince does not reveal his full army before battle, the awakened does not reveal his full insight before time. There is strategy in silence. Every revelation must be weighed carefully. Is the listener worthy of the truth? Are they capable of carrying its weight without twisting it? Most are not. Most only listen to respond, not to understand. And those who cannot understand will destroy what they cannot control. Your vision must become your compass, not your conversation. Let it guide your choices, your actions, your manner of living, not your words. For once it becomes spoken, it transforms from energy into echo, from power into performance. The awakened must live their truth silently, allowing others to witness its reflection through presence, not through explanation. In Florence, he reflects, I learned that silence commands more respect than confession. The ruler who speaks little is feared and admired. The one who speaks too much is measured and doubted. The same principle governs the spirit. Speak of your vision, and men will question it. Guard it, and they will feel it without a word spoken. There is another danger, the ego. Once you reveal your vision, it begins to feed the ego's hunger for recognition. You start to believe that enlightenment is something to display, a badge to be worn before men. But spiritual truth is not performance, it is transformation. The moment the ego claims it, the purity fades. You become attached not to the vision itself, but to the attention it brings. And attention is a poor substitute for understanding. To remain silent is not to hide. It is to protect the divine seed planted within you. The seed must grow in the darkness before it reaches the light. If you uncover it too early, it dies in exposure. The same law applies to the inner vision. Let it grow in your solitude, watered by reflection, strengthened by patience, nourished by humility. When the time is right, its fruits will be seen by all, not through speech but through transformation. Understand this, Machiavelli's voice softens. The world rewards performance, but punishes purity. And those who have seen the truth will always walk a lonely path until the rest awaken. To survive, you must carry your light like a hidden blade, unseen, yet unstoppable. The wise man speaks only what cannot be misunderstood. The rest he guards with the silence of kings. And perhaps that is why so many enlightened souls were exiled, silenced or misunderstood. Not because they lacked truth, but because they shared it with those unprepared to hear it. The awakened must therefore act with the cunning of the strategist and the patience of the sage. You do not reveal the map of your soul to travelers who have not yet learned to see the road. You do not hand sacred fire to those who still play with shadows. Keep your vision close, not out of fear but out of reverence for its purity. For once the world knows what you see, it will no longer belong to you. It will belong to them. To never reveal the depth of your understanding. There is a certain kind of power that does not come from armies, wealth, or titles, but from the quiet knowing that sees through men. When you understand too much, you become a mirror that frightens those who live by illusion. And so, my friend, never reveal the depth of your understanding, for wisdom, once exposed, becomes your greatest vulnerability. The awakened mind sees beyond the surface. You begin to read people not by their words, but by the tone that hides beneath them. You sense the fear behind their laughter, the deceit in their compliments, the desire behind their kindness. But when you let others know that you see through them, they begin to fear you. They see in you not a friend, but a threat. To reveal the depth of your understanding is to announce that their masks no longer work. And men hate nothing more than to be unmasked. In courts, in churches, and in the streets of Florence, Machiavelli says softly, "I watched how truth was punished and deception rewarded. Men admire wisdom from afar, but despise it when it stands too close. They seek counsel, but only the counsel that flatters them. The rest they call arrogance." When you begin to understand life, people, and the machinery of human nature, you walk among the blind. But if you tell them they cannot see, they will turn against you. The awakened mind must therefore learn the art of disguise, to see everything but to reveal nothing. This is the silent power of the strategist, the philosopher, the mystic. It is not deceit, it is survival. The fool reveals everything he knows to prove his worth. The wise reveal nothing, for they have nothing to prove. When your understanding is deep, silence becomes your language. People will believe you are simple, perhaps even naive. And that is your advantage. For when they underestimate you, they expose themselves. They speak freely in your presence, unaware that you are reading every word they do not say. Men, he continues, are not destroyed by their enemies, but by those who know them too well. Therefore guard your mind as a fortress. Show people only what they can bear to see, and keep the rest locked in the vault of your silence. To understand too much is both a blessing and a curse. You see the patterns of manipulation in conversation, the motives behind kindness, the insecurities behind aggression. You see why people lie, not because they are evil, but because they are afraid. And yet this clarity isolates you. It creates a distance between you and the world. That distance is the price of insight. But if you speak of it too soon, you will be branded as arrogant, cynical, or untrustworthy. So you must learn restraint. Allow others their illusions. Let them keep their masks, if they must. For if you strip away every lie, you will find no peace, only hostility. True understanding is not for exhibition. It is a private weapon, to be used with precision and purpose. The awakened should use understanding to navigate life, not to dominate it. When you reveal the full extent of your perception, You alert others to your power, and power that is visible is always feared, and fear always breeds opposition. I learned this among the princes, Machiavelli says, where men smile with daggers behind their teeth. The man who sees too much becomes dangerous, and the dangerous man must either rule or perish. Therefore the wise never show his full understanding. He plays the fool when necessary. He hides his knowledge behind humor, modesty, or silence. In this way he remains untouchable. When you speak, speak in measures. Give men only what they can comprehend. Do not try to enlighten everyone, for enlightenment cannot be forced. It must grow within, not be imposed from without. If you try to show others the truth before they are ready, they will not thank you. They will hate you. People cling to their illusions, as a child clings to a blanket in the dark. To tear it away suddenly is to expose them to a light too sharp for their eyes. The awakened must therefore master the rhythm of revelation, knowing when to speak, when to hint, and when to remain silent. Say less than you know, listen more than you speak, watch more than you act, and always keep one thought hidden behind every word you say. This is not deception, it is discipline, for not all truths are meant to be spoken, and not all knowledge is meant to be shared. The right truth, spoken at the wrong time, becomes poison. To understand men, his tone turns colder, is to walk through a garden of mirrors. Every reflection lies a little, and the moment you reveal that you can see through those reflections, they will shatter them out of fear. You will become their enemy simply because you see them too clearly. Thus the wise man wears a mask of ignorance, not because he is weak but because he understands the danger of too much truth. When you reveal your understanding, you give others the blueprint to manipulate you. They learn your depth, your patience, your way of thinking, and they begin to adapt. They guard themselves. They wear thicker masks, and soon your advantage disappears. The true strategist conceals his mind as the night conceals its stars. You must allow others to underestimate you. That is how you remain free. Let them think you are slow, distracted, ordinary. Meanwhile you observe, you learn, and you act only when the moment is ripe. The awakened are not meant to argue with ignorance. They are meant to outlast it. The wise do not reveal what they know. They embody it. When your understanding becomes visible, it loses its mystery. And when it loses mystery, it loses influence. For mystery is the mother of power. A man who cannot be read, cannot be controlled. A man who reveals his understanding, reveals his weakness. Therefore Machiavelli says, lowering his voice to a whisper, never show the full depth of your mind. Speak as if you know less, act as if you see less, feel as if you care less. For in that disguise lies your greatest freedom. For he never revealed the source of your peace. There is nothing more unsettling to the ordinary man than the sight of someone who cannot be disturbed. The world thrives on chaos, on reaction, on endless noise. But the awakened man, he is calm in the storm, silent in conflict, and untouched by the theater of the crowd. This calmness is not weakness, it is sovereignty. And if you ever wish to keep your sovereignty, never reveal the source of your peace. Peace, true peace, is not the absence of struggle. It is mastery within it. It is the ability to stand in the middle of the fire and remain unburned. The spiritually awakened soul does not seek to escape the world. He has simply learned to no longer be ruled by it. But once people discover why you are unshaken, they will either try to copy it without understanding, or worse, they will try to break it. They will look for the cracks in your composure, for the weakness behind your stillness. They will probe, test and provoke, simply to see if your peace can be stolen. For to those who live in turmoil, calmness is an insult. In my time, Machiavelli reflects softly, I saw men tremble in the presence of one who did not react. For reaction is the language of slaves, silence is the dialect of kings. People fear what they cannot disturb. They mistake calmness for superiority, serenity for indifference. And because of that, they will attempt to draw you back into their storm, to make you feel argue and lose your center. This is why the source of your peace must remain hidden. Let them see your calm, but never show them the roots that feed it. Let them guess, let them wonder, let them doubt if it is real, for the moment they understand it, they will begin to attack it. Peace is power, invisible, silent and absolute. It is the weapon of the awakened in a world of noise. But unlike other forms of power, it cannot be flaunted. The more you speak of it, the more fragile it becomes. The more you defend it, the more easily it slips away. Your peace must be guarded like a secret garden. No map, no entrance, no explanation. Those who are meant to find it will find it through your presence, not your words. The wise man, he continues, does not preach his stillness. He wears it as a shadow. It follows him wherever he goes, but it makes no sound. When you reveal the source of your peace, you also reveal your sanctuary, the place, the practice, the belief, or the person that grounds you. Once others know this, they have leverage. Some will exploit it, intentionally or not. If your peace comes from solitude, they will disturb your solitude. If it comes from faith, they will mock your faith. If it comes from a person, they will test that bond. And in doing so, they take from you the very stillness that gave you strength. It is not cruelty, it is human nature. Men do not like to see others content with what they cannot understand. Peace makes you ungovernable. When nothing external can shake you, you become free. And freedom, to the unfree, is always threatening. The society of the restless survives on distraction. It feeds on conflict and competition. The calm individual breaks this cycle, and so he must be misunderstood. The wise do not seek to explain their peace to those still addicted to noise. They allow their peace to confuse, to intimidate, and to inspire, but never to be dissected. You see, Machiavelli's tone deepens. Power that is visible invites challenge. Power that is hidden commands obedience. Peace, too, follows this law. The moment you display its source, it ceases to protect you. True peace is not a state of the mind. It is a discipline of the soul. It is earned through silence, through pain, through the gradual taming of chaos within oneself. It is not something that can be given or taught. It can only be embodied, and the awakened one knows. Once you start explaining your peace, it becomes an argument. The moment you justify your calm, you lose it. Let others fight to be understood. The awakened fights only to remain undisturbed. When they ask how you remain so composed, do not explain. When they question why nothing shakes you, smile and change the subject. Let mystery protect you, for explanation invites interference, and interference breeds imbalance. What the world cannot define, it cannot destroy. In Florence, he says with quiet remembrance, I watched the most powerful men crumble, not because they lacked strength, but because they sought validation. They explained themselves too much. They shared their fears, their plans, their peace, and in doing so they handed others the keys to their undoing. A man who guards his peace guards his throne. You must understand, peace is not for show. It is for survival. To walk calmly through madness is to possess a power greater than armies. But when the crowd senses that power, it begins to test it. They will throw chaos at you, waiting for a reaction, desperate to prove that your peace was merely performance. Let them. Remain unmoved, but never reveal what keeps you centered, for your silence will torment them more than your explanation ever could. The world has always belonged to those who control themselves. The rulers of men are not those who shout loudest, but those who stay silent when others lose control. The awakened individual must learn to guard this silence, to protect the invisible structure that supports it, because once others know how you maintain your calm, they will know how to dismantle it. What they cannot see, they cannot touch. What they cannot name, they cannot destroy. Remember, Machiavelli says in a measured whisper, the storm loses its power only before those who do not fear the rain. The wise man does not speak of the shelter he built. He simply stands dry while others drown. And that, my friend, is the secret that must never be spoken. For never reveal your future vision or destiny. The most dangerous thing a man can do is to speak of his destiny before it unfolds. For the moment your vision escapes your lips, it no longer belongs to you. It becomes the world's to mock, to question, or to destroy. Those who understand power know that the future must be guarded like a secret plan of war. Never reveal your future vision or destiny, for destiny grows best in silence. Every awakened soul feels at some point a divine pull, a whisper that tells him he was meant for something greater. It is not arrogance, it is calling. You feel it when you look at the world, and sense that your path leads beyond it. But in your excitement, you may be tempted to announce it, to share it, to tell others what you will become. You imagine they will understand. You believe they will encourage you. Yet Machiavelli would warn, they will not. They will fear it, envy it, and sabotage it. For men do not oppose your weakness. They oppose your potential. In Florence, Machiavelli's tone sharpens. I watched men lose empires not by weakness of arms, but by looseness of tongue. They revealed their ambitions too early, and in doing so gave their enemies time to prepare. Remember, destiny is not to be spoken, it is to be lived. Your vision, your destiny is sacred. It is a fragile seed. It must be nurtured in silence, protected from the harsh winds of doubt and the storms of other people's opinions. The moment you speak of it, you invite judgment, resistance, and comparison. The world will measure your dream by its own limitations and tell you it cannot be done. And in time you may begin to believe them. Thus, the first thief of destiny is not failure, it is conversation. The wise understand that revelation is a kind of surrender. To reveal your plans is to expose your weaknesses, your fears, and your strategy. The clever move in silence, letting their results speak when the time is right. The fool, eager for recognition, declares his vision before it takes form. He feeds his ego with attention instead of feeding his dream with discipline. He receives applause too soon, and loses the hunger that was meant to carry him forward. Machiavelli says coldly, are creatures of envy. They cannot bear to watch another climb without wishing to pull him down. Thus the man of destiny must wear the mask of the ordinary, the cloak of patience. He must act as though he knows nothing, while secretly building everything. There is a divine irony in this. The more silent you are, the stronger your vision becomes. When you stop explaining it, it starts breathing. The less you talk about it, the more real it feels. You begin to act, not perform. You move in purpose, not in presentation. Those who speak too much of their destiny drain it of its energy. They mistake speech for progress. But words do not build empires. Actions do. And actions thrive in secrecy. Your destiny is not meant to be discussed. It is meant to be realized. When you tell others your vision, you give them the power to influence it, even unintentionally. Every word of doubt, every question, every warning seeps into your mind and plants seeds of hesitation. Before long, your once clear path becomes crowded with the fears of others. This is why the awakened must walk quietly. Speak less of where you are going, and more of what you are doing now. Fortune, he says with a calculated tone, favors the silent strategist. She rewards those who prepare in the shadows and strike when the world least expects it. The man who shouts his ambition invites his own ruin. The man who hides his purpose walks unchallenged. The awakened who keeps his vision hidden holds power over time itself. No one can sabotage a plan they do not know exists. No one can mock what they cannot see. When they finally witness your success, it will seem as if it happened overnight, sudden, miraculous, fated. But you will know the truth. It was built in secrecy, through patience, through nights of quiet labor and days of humble disguise. When others ask about your plans, smile, speak vaguely. Let them believe you are uncertain, lost, or distracted. This confuses them, disarms them, protects you. The greatest victories in history were born in silence. Caesar did not announce every campaign. The sculptor did not describe his masterpiece before the marble was struck. The wise man does not predict his destiny, he fulfills it. Understand, Machiavelli's tone deepens. The world fears visionaries. It worships them only after they succeed. Before that it ridicules them, isolates them, and calls them mad. Thus the one who speaks of destiny too early becomes his own enemy. The one who conceals it becomes unstoppable. Silence, then, is not cowardice, it is protection. The awakened man learns to speak through results, not predictions. When you reach your destiny, the world will listen. Until then, your words are best left unspoken. Let them see nothing until it is too late for them to stop it. That is the way of power, the strategy of the unseen, the discipline of the destined. And remember this, every dream has enemies it does not yet know. Every vision threatens those who benefit from your silence. The less they know, the safer you are. The more you reveal, the weaker your position becomes. Move quietly, build quietly, win quietly, and when destiny arrives, let it announce itself in thunder while you remain the calm behind it. The true master of fate, Machiavelli whispers, does not tell the world what he will become. He simply becomes it. 5. Never reveal the depth of your pain. There are wounds too deep for the world to see. And yet those very wounds become the birthplace of strength. Every awakened soul carries a private sorrow, a shadow that no one else can understand. But remember this, never reveal the depth of your pain, for the moment you do, you surrender the power that your suffering has forged within you. Pain is the great sculptor of the spirit. It burns away weakness. It strips illusion. It teaches you to endure what others cannot even imagine. But while pain awakens you, the world does not honor that awakening. It will not cherish your scars. It will exploit them. When you reveal the full measure of your suffering, you hand others the blueprint of your vulnerability. You show them where strike. And human nature, as I have long observed, cannot resist such knowledge. Men pity the weak only when they no longer pose a threat. But when a man of power bleeds, the world gathers to watch. In Florence, Machiavelli says with quiet bitterness, I saw rulers who confessed their pain to gain sympathy, and in doing so lost their thrones. For pity does not protect, it sedates. The moment a prince seeks understanding, he ceases to command it. There is a certain kind of pain that refines the awakened soul. Pain that opens the eyes, sharpens perception, and teaches silence. This pain should be carried with dignity, not displayed as decoration. The world today has turned pain into performance. Everyone speaks of their wounds, but few have learned from them. The awakened one does not speak to be comforted. He suffers to be transformed. His pain becomes his teacher, his weapon, his armor. But if he exposes it, it becomes entertainment for those who have not yet suffered deeply enough to understand. Men admire strength, he continues, but they are drawn to weakness only to compare it with their own. They do not wish to heal you. They wish to measure themselves against your fall. When you reveal the depth of your pain, you invite interpretations, judgments, and unwanted advice from those unqualified to comprehend it. They will label your suffering, diminish it, twist it into their own language of convenience. They will say, you should move on, as if time alone could heal a wound carved into the soul. They will tell you, be positive, not because they wish you well, but because your pain makes them uncomfortable. And so the awakened must learn to carry their pain with silence, not out of fear, but out of mastery. For silence dignifies suffering, while speech often cheapens it. The depth of your pain reveals the depth of your transformation. To suffer and still remain kind, that is power. To hurt and still remain silent, that is discipline. But to reveal your pain to those who cannot hold it, that is waste. There are very few souls in this world who can listen without judgment, comfort without control, or understand without speaking. Until such a soul finds you, keep your pain where it belongs, within the temple of your heart. I have seen, Machiavelli says darkly, how pain makes men wise, but also how confession makes them weak. When you cry before those who cannot comprehend your sorrow, you invite their pity instead of their respect. And pity is the slowest poison of all. Pain, when hidden, becomes fuel. It burns quietly, transforming into resilience. It sharpens your instincts, hardens your patience, and deepens your empathy. But when you speak it aloud to the unworthy, that fire turns to smoke, scattered, weakened, and wasted. The greatest men in history, the awakened of every age, carried pain that no one ever knew. They smiled in public, bled in silence, and rose from their wounds without explanation. Their greatness was not in what they endured, but in how little they revealed of it. You must understand, revealing your pain does not guarantee understanding. It guarantees exposure. Some will pity you, others will use it against you. Some will claim to care, only to feed their curiosity. In the court of human nature, empathy is rare, and exploitation is common. Protect your pain as you would protect a secret weapon. Let no one see how deep it cuts, for the world respects mystery far more than misery. There is beauty, Machiavelli's tone softens, in a man who suffers quietly. His silence commands attention more than his cries ever could. People sense his depth, but cannot measure it. They feel his strength, but cannot explain it. And so they respect what they cannot dissect. Your pain does not need witnesses. It needs purpose. Every wound can either be a doorway or a prison, and the choice is made by how you carry it. If you reveal it too soon, you remain its prisoner. If you guard it, you learn to use pain. Kept private becomes discipline. Pain revealed becomes distraction. The awakened must know that suffering is sacred currency. It buys wisdom, empathy, and vision, but only if you spend it in silence. When you reveal your pain, you give the world the illusion of understanding you. But no one can truly understand what was meant for your transformation alone. Your pain is the conversation between you and the divine, not between you and the crowd. The divine whispers in agony, not applause, and those whispers can only be heard in solitude. To share them too loudly is to drown out their meaning. In the art of power, he says slowly, the wise man never reveals his weakness, even when he bleeds. He smiles through betrayal. He walks through despair with steady feet, for he knows that pain once spoken becomes performance, but pain endured becomes destiny. So when the world asks if you are hurting, smile. When they press to know how you survived, say little. Let them see your peace, not your scars. For what they cannot see, they cannot corrupt. What they cannot measure, they cannot diminish. The awakened must always suffer in dignity, transform in silence, and rise unseen. For pain is not meant to be explained, it is meant to be mastered. Remember this, seeker. Revelation is not freedom. Restraint is. The greatest power of the awakened lies not in what they know, but in what they choose not to speak. In silence, truth remains pure. In speech, it becomes politics. Guard your light, for the world is not yet ready for its brightness.